Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas. This is how to make a driving and racing game in Unity, and welcome to episode 15. So this time we're going to look at more customization for our game itself. So we'll look at a car selection, and we'll also start kind of building up that second track, as well as looking at the track selection screen as well to add in another image for the second track. So first things first, what we're going to do is let's head to our main menu. Now, what I want to do here is change just a couple of things. If we zoom in, we currently have play game, which takes us to the initial track, and track select, which takes us to the track selection screen. So what I want to do is change this play game button to, instead of saying play game, I want this to, at a later point, be, let's say, a randomizer where it selects a random vehicle on a random track. So for now, I'm going to bring this down here, and I'm just going to quickly change the text on it to say random, and I'm also going to change the name of it to random game. I'm going to use this track select button as our main play option. So let's bring it to the top of the canvas at the top there so we can kind of get things nice in order. And I'm going to change it to say play game and change it to play game. So we need to go to the script which is attached here to the button object and button option. So essentially what I'm going to do is block out the original play game button from doing anything right now, simply because there's kind of no point to it. So this public void track select, let's do this to all these lines here. So let's get rid of that public void completely. Let's rename public void track select to play game and save. And for the eagle-eyed viewers out there, you'll notice I have actually switched to Visual Studio. Reason being is probably by the time some of you watch this, Unity 2018.1 may be out, and at which point Mono Developer is no longer included, so we have to use Visual Studio. So now let's quickly check on these buttons again. So we need to reassign, and this one is going to be play game. And on the random, let's select no function just so it does nothing at all. So we've got that working. Now let's head to the track select. Let's save that scene as well. So first things first, I want to bring in an image for the night circuit. If we go down here to our textures and thumbnails, I have this track 002 thumb right here. And same as last time, I'm going to change texture type to sprite and apply. And then we just apply it to the button itself. So now you can see we have this kind of appearing quite nicely. So this whole track selection screen, I want to kind of incorporate into two things here. I want it to be car selection and track selection. So firstly, we'd select our car, and then we'd select our track, and then we'd be on our way. So I'm going to change this up here and select your car, and let's put an ampersand there, track. Obviously yours may not say that, you can be a little bit more intricate with it. Let's bring it up a bit, shrink the size of the box, there we go. Now I'm going to add in a UI element, and it's going to be a panel, and this panel is going to contain the tracks. So let's bring it to about there, and in fact what I might do is bring that to, let's say, there. That looks okay. And then I'm going to select Jimmy circuit and night circuit, bring them into panel, right click, rename panel, and let's call it track selection. And I'm going to bring it down here to about there, and I'm going to turn it off. Now what I'm going to do is let's select a car. Now this is where it starts to get fun, because I have an idea of two cars to go with, either red or blue. You probably saw them as thumbnails just here. So let's import these now onto there. So as I say, it's going to be just a quick kind of two different cars. But obviously, when you go more in depth with your game, you'll be able to select your actual car rather than just a different color. But it's entirely up to you how you want to deal with this. So let's insert, in fact, I know, let's duplicate this track selection. Let's turn it back on and duplicate it so we can keep things consistent. Hold Control, press D, and let's bring it up to about there. And let's bring select. I put you car and track. That should be your car and track. I might reduce the text a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'm happy with that now. What I'm going to do is change the buttons here to represent the cars. So I'm going to hold Control. Sorry, no. For a duplicate, I don't need to do that. We just need to change this to a sprite, don't we? Simple. And the same with the blue one. Change to a sprite. And let's get rid of text 1. Don't need that. And text 1 there because we don't need that. And let's drag and drop red car onto there. And blue car onto there. Let's shrink our, there we go, about there. Let's bring the two buttons down a little bit to about there. So the idea of what we've done here is got our car, got our track, so I won't be able to select the car first, then select the track. Because if we select the track straight away, we'll have no car. So F2, car, select, and let's turn off track selection. So now we have to write a script to enable this to appear and select our car. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to create a script. So right click, create C# script, and let's call this global car. And let's open it up in Visual Studio. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have a static variable which will allow us to define whatever car we've picked in a later race. So let's get rid of void start and void update and start fresh in the public class. And let's go with public static car type semicolon. And we're going to have a couple of methods in this. So the first one is going to be, let's say, for the red car. So public void red car, open close bracket, open curly bracket. And when we select it, we're going to need to put car type equals, let's define 1 as red. So let's put some notes here. So after the car type, let's have a double slash and put 1 equals red, comma 2 equals blue. So on that note, we also need another variable which will be for the track selection here that we've turned off. So we need to re-enable it. So public game object. Sorry, I've just realized that one should actually be integer int. We can't just have public static car type, that would be a bit silly. So public game object, and let's have track window semicolon. And down here, once we've selected the red car, we just need to have track window appear. So track window dot set active true semicolon. So that concludes our, let's put that like that there. Let's align that. There we go. That's aligned quite nicely. So we need to do the same again for the blue car. Public void blue car, open close bracket, open curly bracket, and car type equals 2 semicolon track window dot set active is true semicolon, and save. So we now need to put this script into here, and we'll attach it to tell you what, let's create a new game object, and we'll rename this to car buttons, and then drag and drop global car onto car buttons. The track window is going to be the track selection screen there, and then we just need to assign to each of these buttons the relative methods. So first one, let's right click, rename, and have red car, and we need to do car buttons over here, no function, global car, and it is a red car there. Same applies for the blue car. Let's right click, rename blue car, and drag and drop car buttons, no function, global car, and blue car. So now, hopefully, when we press play, we'll be able to select one or the other car, and this will appear down here. Perfect. So then we have the ability to select our track and we'll race away. But if we select this track now, it makes no difference what we've selected here for our car. As we can see, it's still grey. So this is where the customization comes in. So let's save that scene and let's head to, excuse me, the race area 1. This is the one we'll start off with. So firstly, let's double click on our car to zoom in, pan our camera around a bit so we can see. Now, the great things with these standard asset cars is on Skycar itself, you can select Skycar body. So let's head to the materials folder of this specific thing. And we can see here, it's called Skycar body grey. So let's do a search for just body grey. And we can see here, there it is. So it also tells you down here where it is exactly. So let's actually navigate to that folder. So standard assets, vehicles, car, materials. So standard assets, vehicles, car, materials. And there it is. So I'm going to hold Control, press D to duplicate, F2, and rename it to car body red. And you've guessed it, I'm just going to change the albedo color to red. Hold Control, press D to duplicate again, and yeah, hopefully you guys are ahead of me. Just change it to blue, and yeah, change the color to blue. Now, this car body itself, I'm going to leave the original one there, but I'm going to disable it after I've duplicated it. So, hold Control, press D. If you're using the same as me, like I say, use this Sky car body. Disable the first one, and on this one, F2. And let's type the word red afterwards and drag and drop the material onto there. Hold Control, press D to duplicate again. And let's change it to blue. And then drag and drop the blue material onto there. And then disable both of them as well. So you have what looks like an invisible car. So as I say, if you're using your own custom car, you can use perhaps a shell for this. So you would have different shells upon this car itself. So you can use the same mechanics. You don't have to duplicate the entire car. You can just duplicate the body if you're doing it like this. Obviously, if you have different cars, if you have, for example, a Mercedes and a Jag, something like that, then you obviously would need a different car model. So what we're going to do now is we need to create a script to read what we've said, what car we want, and then we can place that car. So back to scripts, right click, create, C# script, and let's call this car choice. Really simple. I love simple name for scripts. So all we need to do with this is in the void start, let's get rid of void update, we don't need that. Any notes, don't need. In void start, what we need to do is here, this is where we're going to put, we need to read the variable. And if it's this, then we have red. If it's this, then we have blue. So realistically, all we need is 2 variables. Public game object, and let's have red body, and public game object blue body, semicolon. So on void start, we need to say, in fact, do you know what? Just for safety's sake, we'll have another one, public int, and we'll call this car import semicolon. And what we'll do is we'll make car import equal to that static variable. So car import equals global car dot car type. So at that point, it will bring in either 1 or 2. So if, in the brackets, car import equals 1, then do the following. Red body dot set active true, semicolon. There we go. And all we need to do is do the inverse of that. Down here, if car import equals 2, sorry, double equal 2. Then do the following. Blue body dot set active true, semicolon, and save. So obviously if you have green body, if you have a yellow one, purple, then you would define more variables as you go along. So if car import equals 3, yellow body equals dot set active. So I'm also going to copy this over here, just so as we know everything that we need. So we're just going to put a little note there to say 1 is red, 2 is blue, resave the script, and let's head back into Unity, game object, create empty, F2, and let's just call this car choice obj, short for object, and drag and drop the car choice onto there, and then just define those two variables, red and blue. So if we play this scene as is, what's going to happen is we'll see this as it races. So let's press play. We can see we just get a weird looking car. So if we save that scene, head back to main menu, you can start at the very top, press play, and play game. Let's select the red car on Jimmy Circuit, and there we go, we have the red car. And if we try again and have the blue car, so main menu, play game, blue car, Jimmy Circuit, we have the blue car, and you can go on as much as you need to. It's as simple as that. Now, the idea of all this is to get deep customization. Obviously, we're going to have more cars as we go along. We're going to have more tracks as we go along. And essentially, we've not really dealt too much with race area 2 here, have we? So what I think I might do at some point is, as you guys know, I do live streams, and I think in the next live stream, which should be March the 10th, I will build up this track on live stream. So guys, until the next episode or the live stream, whichever you manage to catch first, you build your cars, you build your customization, and I will see you there. Thank you very much for watching.